When you're picking up mail from businesses, what causes them to be like your favorite customer?
Having the packages in the bag already, you're really great at that, obviously. Just tell them what you do and it's perfect.
This is our shipping and packing area. But how does a website order actually get shipped to the customer? How does it go from the website into a box with a shipping label and into the mail stream? Today, I'm gonna break down the process for you. We're gonna talk about how to select the proper box sizes for shipping, who to ship with, how much it's gonna cost, how to connect everything from your website to your label printer, how to pack things up together, and even how to get them to the post office. So what better place to start than by looking at the products and choosing the proper box size? The first thing we're gonna do is take a look at our actual items and measure them. Yeah, you heard right. Let's start with a single bottle of Maker's Magic. This one right here, one of our best sellers. When I measure this bottle, I can see that it's about 4¼ inches tall and around 2½ inches wide. So I know that I need something that will fit this bottle. Well, if I was to buy a mailer that size, it would look like this. And this Maker's Magic just barely fits in there. You can see, it's even gonna be a little challenging to close. So this is our first lesson. Order packaging that is larger than your items. Here's why. You're most likely gonna sell more than one unit, and you want it to be easy to open up and get out. You also want it to be easy to pack. And if everything goes in too tightly, you're gonna have a bad time. But mailers aren't the only method. You can see here, I have a bunch of examples of different padded mailers. These are all plastic bubble mailers, but there are also craft mailers like this. These are made of recycled paper. They're not nearly as durable, but they're a lot cheaper. This is what we used when we were starting out because it was the most affordable option. But we ended up getting some broken bottles of Maker's Magic when we only shipped in padded craft mailers. And that's because they're just not that durable. They can rip really easy. And if they get wet, they get destroyed. So these aren't the best option for everything, only for some things. You can also try a plastic padded mailer. These are water resistant, a little bit more expensive, and they offer a little bit more protection because they're just more durable, you know? The second option for packaging is cardboard boxes or corrugate. They're way more durable. They come packed flat, but it adds some extra time to the shipping process because you have to build and tape a box. It's not as easy as just ripping off a seal and sticking it down like an envelope. So there's pros and cons to each, both in time and cost. The next thing that we have to take into consideration is multiple units, right? We don't want a specific mailer for every single product. It would just get too expensive and just be kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest. So what you'll probably end up doing is measuring all your different products, figuring out a standard size that will fit most things, and getting a craft mailer or a padded envelope that will fit just about everything. For example, I'm gonna ship my stencils and scorch markers in here because I don't really run the risk of things getting damaged and broken in the mail. There's light stuff, it's small. But when someone orders a 6-pack of Maker's Magic, which is 2 of these, it's heavy. It's a couple pounds. And I don't know if that craft mailer is gonna hold up to all the abuse. So that's why we have cardboard boxes. Now, this cardboard box was really easy to get. I simply took the 6-pack out, I put it on the table, and I measured it with a tape measure. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need at least 7½ inches by 5¼ inches. But boxes don't typically come in that size. This one is 8 by 5 by 5, meaning most boxes come in whole numbers or half sizes. So I needed to bump it up a little bit and leave a little bit of extra room in the box. Well, that's okay, because I measured it. I'm like, oh, an 8 by 5 by 5, yeah, that'll work. Let's try one of those. So I went to uline.com, I researched the different box sizes they have, and I ordered some samples, and they sent them over to me for free. This is an example of one of those samples. So is this, and so is this. These two didn't work, but this one did. So as you can see, they fit in here pretty well. There's not a ton of wiggle room. There's still a little room left on the top if I wanted to pack in a handful of scorch markers or maybe some goodies or some stencils, but I'll also have room for packing material. And don't worry, we'll talk about packing material in a minute. That's how I figured out the standard size of our boxes. I literally set all of our products out. I looked at all the things we sell on our website, our 3-packs, our 6-packs, our 3 packs of Maker's Magic, our finishing oil, our wood slices, and I did a bunch of measurements to find some standardized box sizes. Let me show you what those look like. On this pallet rack right here, we have a bunch of different mailers and boxes set up for us. These are all the boxes that I've chosen that work well with our products. For example, we have some large number 5 padded mailers right here. We have smaller padded mailers right here. We have some sizes that are a little bit in between. And we even have branded flat packed small boxes. These ones are a lot more expensive, but we'll cover that in a moment. Up here, you're gonna see some larger boxes as well, like this. And even bigger boxes, like this one right here. But if you look over here on the end, we have some regular Uline corrugate. This box right here will fit this size, and this size all stacked up. And the only way to really figure this out is to use a tape measure. You've got to measure your products to figure out what size box they fit in. Okay, over here, I have another style of box. This one is specifically for 6 packs of Maker's Magic that won't fit in our smaller branded box. So I basically have a box or a padded mailer that will fit every configuration of the products that we sell, which is really important because I want our stuff to show up intact, undamaged. I want it to be a nice and pleasant unboxing experience. So for that reason, we've got a bunch of different options. Now, before we move on, let's quickly talk about my favorites because we have padded mailers and boxes. Boxes are by far my favorite for durability. They look nicer too. And everything shows up and it's a more pleasant unboxing experience, but it takes way longer to ship and they're way more expensive. So for most of our items, especially the small and light stuff, we use padded mailers. So when I ship today, you're gonna see a combination of these and these. Now, when you're just starting out, I really want you to resist the urge to purchase branded boxes like these, and for a couple of reasons. They're a couple dollars a box, so they're significantly more expensive. They take a long time to get made and designed. You have to work with a design team, and then you have to order the minimum order quantity, which oftentimes is around 10,000 units. That means you'd have to spend upwards of 10, 20, sometimes even $30,000 just to get boxes. And if your order volume isn't really high, it just doesn't make sense. I've seen so many people lose money by spending extra on packaging, when in reality, all they're doing is taking money away from themselves to give the customer something nice to throw away. So we want to avoid using nice branded boxes in the beginning. Just use something simple like a plastic padded mailer or a simple cardboard box. Learn from my mistakes. I still have boxes that I ordered years ago that I'm working my way through. It was a waste of money. The only exception to that is if you're selling a premium product and you have to make it like really, really nice because it coincides with your $400 flashlight. Otherwise, nice branded boxes just don't make a ton of sense, especially not until you're doing over $1 million a year in sales. And before we can have a customer place an order on our website and ship effectively, we've got to figure out the weight and dimensions of this box with the product in it. This is very important because most shipping companies charge by weight and size. So we must know the weight and size of every product. And if we want our systems to run smoothly, all this data has to be put into Shopify or your website provider or even ShipStation so it pulls the right codes and sets up your shipping label properly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this 6-pack of Maker's Magic and we're just gonna fold it up and take some measurements. I know that this is 5 inches by 5 inches by 8 inches. And it's okay if you're a little off. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just choose the nearest whole number. You can also look on the bottom of the box. This one's labeled 8 by 5 by 5. The next thing we've got to do is weigh it. Right here is a scale. This scale is a little bit fancier than your normal kitchen scale because the controls and the screen is separated. This way you can put larger boxes on here and still be able to see the readouts. The first thing that we want to do is set it properly to pounds and ounces. You have a couple different modes, and if you click the mode button on just about any scale, you'll go from ounces to grams to pounds and ounces. We want to use pounds and ounces for shipping here in the United States. So the next thing we're going to do is take our final product and put it on the scale and get an idea of how much it weighs. This is 4 pounds, 1.7 ounces. That means that in my shipping software, I'm gonna put in 4 pounds, 2 ounces. I'm always going to round up on the weights because I don't want the packages returned to me. And sometimes when they find a package that weighs more than what you've paid for, they'll just send it right back to you. I want to avoid that at all costs. It's gonna cost me more money and more time delays for the customer. So I always bump it up a little bit. Once you know the size, dimensions, and the weight of your items, you can come over to Shopify and put them in. So we're gonna start by going to the product section on Shopify. And this is gonna list all of your products. And within each one of these products is a field for entering in your shipping. So let's find a Maker's Magic 6-pack. Perfect. This is what the back end of my Shopify looks like. And if you scroll down and down and down, you'll be able to see the weight of the product. First, you want to check the box that this is a physical product, and then you want to put in the weight in ounces. Now, so if you don't have the option to put in pounds and ounces, you can simply change the scale and click the mode back into just straight up ounces, and it will tell you 65.8 ounces. So we're gonna change that to 66 ounces. We're gonna select United States as the country of origin. We're also gonna choose our HS code. Sometimes this is known as an HTS code or harmonization code. What it is an international identifier for what your product is. So we're gonna type in glue. We have 3506.10. Perfect. That's our HTS code for this product. But where do we put in the dimensions? We don't put it in here in Shopify. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here into our settings, and we're gonna go to our shipping and delivery options. This is where we are going to put in the preferred carriers, our shipping zones, our rates, and our traditional sizes. Let me show you an example of what I mean. Right down here under Save Packages, you can put in a couple different options. You can see that I have the Scorch Marker branded box here as one of our older ones. We have a sample box, a padded mailer, and our 7x11 envelope, which is our standard package. Now, if you edit one of the packages, you can change the name, you can type box, envelope, soft package, or satchel, and even the weight and length and width. All of this stuff is really helpful. If it's an envelope, you're only gonna get length and width. If it's a box, you're gonna get all 3 options. And what this is gonna do is set up some standardized shipping sizes so that everything will go smoothly when an order processes. The next thing we wanna look at is our shipping rates, and you can create a custom profile for this. So basically what I've done is I've said that, hey, most of our products fit this profile. Here's where we fulfill it from. We're shipping from the United States, and the only real shipping option we wanna offer is economy. When you start adding rates for different areas or allowing them to calculate their own shipping rates and you offer next day air or priority shipping, it really muddies the waters and it can get expensive. It can lower your conversions and it can create a lot more headache for you when you're shipping and packing your items. So if you don't have to ship super quickly, I recommend just choosing economy for everything and making sure that you have the simplest system set up. You're also gonna choose your shipping location. Once you have your shipping profile set up, everything's gonna work a lot better. But before you can move on, you have to talk about the shipping labels. And so if you go to add preferred carrier services, you can choose which service you wanna ship with, whether it's FedEx, UPS, DHL, or USPS. Please just stick with the United States Postal Service for now. They're the most affordable, they're the most widespread. They're gonna do the last mile delivery anyway, but it's gonna save you a ton of money and be a lot simpler than if you were to choose all the options. You don't want all the options. You just want one for now. Learn from my mistakes. If you're watching this video, you're probably just starting, or maybe you've just figured out your product and you're ready to get it into customers' hands. Either way, if you wanna be legit, you've gotta have a business set up. The good news is that it will only take you 20 minutes to fix. If you click the link in the description and head over to ZenBusiness, they will help you get your LLC, your EIN, your registered agent, and all of your compliance documents handled. And out of everything I've done, they are by far the best. They've helped over 800,000 people form their businesses. Plus, they'll save all your paperwork on an easy to access online dashboard so you never lose it. So if you haven't formed your LLC yet, make sure you get it done ASAP. Let's get back to the video. Now that we know how to figure out the box size, the box weight, and how to enter everything into Shopify so it works smoothly and gets recognized by the system, let's talk about how it all gets glued together and how to actually print out and run a shipping label for a customer's order. Everything starts here on the computer. So if you go to Shopify and you click on orders, you'll be able to see all the orders that have come through recently. Now, I shipped a lot of orders already, but we do have 4 orders here that need to be printed, picked, packed, and shipped. So let's look at some of our different options. Now, if you're running a simple online store and you're just using Shopify, you can get away with printing the labels on Shopify, buying all the labels through Shopify. They'll give you a discounted rate. But if you're selling stuff on TikTok Shop and Amazon Merchant Fulfilled and your website, and you have orders coming in from an old WordPress store or retail orders and stuff, you might want to glue all of it together. But don't worry, we're going to talk about both options. Let's start with the simplest first. If you go to your orders and let's say that you have one that you want to ship, you can click on it and hit Create Shipping Label. And what that's going to do is give you a preview of the order. It's going to show you what it's going to be packed in, so you can choose the actual package that we've pre-selected by filling out our shipping options. You can change the weight, you can edit the weight, and then you can choose the service. In this case, Ground Advantage is suggested because it's only $4.14. It also has insurance and tracking, and our customers love tracking. So please, choose Ground Advantage. It's going to be the best one for you in 99% of cases. The only thing that we have to do next is to buy the shipping label. And as you can see, this is normally $5.65, but we get a discount buying the shipping through Shopify of $1.51. And all of that adds up, especially if you're doing 100 packages a day, that's over $150. So what we want to do is check the box to send the shipping information to the customer, choose today's date, and buy shipping label. You can also print a packing slip by clicking on this button right here, and that will print it out for you. Now, this is if you're printing it on a piece of paper, of course. But let's go back to the label process, because most of the time, you're not going to be shipping one package at a time. You're going to have multiple orders. Let's select these 3 orders and go to Create Shipping Labels and see what happens. Well, it's going to pull the information for every single one of these orders, and it's going to show you a list of what your options are. In this case, it's chosen Ground Advantage for all of the packages, but the rates are different because the weights are different. Everything is going to a different place. It's going to go a little bit further, or it weighs more, or it's a little bit bigger. That's going to change your shipping costs. So a lot of your labels aren't going to be the same price because it depends on what zone they're going to. There's a lot of different shipping zones, but we're not going to get into the zones today. So really all you got to do is click right here, select all of them. It will give you the price, it will tell you when it's going out, and it will show you how much money is going to be debited from your account to ship all these products. You can buy the 3 shipping labels here, and you're done. You just need to print them out and put them on the boxes. However, I want to show you another option before we buy shipping labels through Shopify. So this is ShipStation right here. I go to ShipStation.com and I log in, and then I go up here to this little refresh icon and I update all the stores. What this is going to do is pull in all of the orders from all of my stores into this page right here, awaiting shipment. Now, sometimes they won't pop up all the time. Just hit refresh on the page and then they'll pop up again afterwards. So you can see here, we've got 3 orders and one of them has 5 items in it. It's got a lot of stuff, $1,000 worth of stuff. So we're gonna take care of that one separately because it's gonna be over 100 pounds. So I'm gonna start by clicking the orders that I want to print and ship. You can see we've got a 3-pack, a scorch marker, and another 3-pack of scorch markers right above it. And after all of these have been selected, I'm going to create and print the labels. What this is going to do is automatically use my settings to figure out how much it's going to cost to ship all of these products. Now it's going to be about $13 in postage to ship these products through ShipStation. But if you go back to Shopify, it's going to cost me $16.32. So ShipStation actually ended up being a little bit cheaper, even with the Shopify discounts applied. And that's because ShipStation has negotiated favorable rates with the carriers, as has Shopify. ShipStation's just done a better job. So let's go back to ShipStation and hit continue and approve the $13.22 in charges. Now we're generating labels. This is the fun part. If you notice, you'll see that these labels look a little bit different than a piece of paper. And that's because they've been set up for a 4x6-inch printer. This printer uses label paper that's self-adhesive and thermally activated. So you don't actually need ink for these. It uses heat and lasers to print on the label. The catch is that it's only black and white. There's a couple different types of label printers. This one is a Padulu. Found this one on Amazon for like $100. Super affordable and honestly works great. It uses these flat accordion style shipping labels. The other option is a Dymo. This was about $400 and honestly, it wasn't worth the money. The labels come in large rolls like these, and because they're on rolls, they have a memory and they're kind of curved a little bit. I don't like it. So as you'll see the labels come out of here, like it'll look nice and it will print well. But if you're just starting out or you just need to get it done, go ahead and get yourself one of the accordion style ones where you just put the paper behind it and it feeds it through. It's gonna be easier to change the paper. It's gonna be more affordable to buy the paper. It's going to be cheaper to buy the printer, and it's gonna ultimately work exactly the same. So don't waste your money on the expensive ones. Go ahead and get the more affordable one. But I'm gonna show you how it works because the Dymo's already plugged into my computer. That brings me to my next point. How do we get these printers set up? Like what needs to be true, what needs to happen? Well, with Dymo specifically, I had to take the USB cable and plug it into the USB port on my computer. Then I needed to plug it into power. Once that was done, I needed to install Dymo Connect, which is a software that allows the computer to talk to the printer. Then, after the printer was connected and I verified that it worked, I needed to set up some print options. So if you look right here on the screen, you're gonna see that I have the Dymo label printer as a destination printer. But you'll also see that the paper size is different. It's not 8.5 by 11, it's 4" by 6". That's the standard label size. This is what you want to be printing on. This is what you want for your packing slips. It makes things so much easier when you have it set up on a 4x6" printer. These things are a lifesaver. You do not want to be using an inkjet or a laser printer. It's going to be way too expensive and you're going to be wasting a lot of expensive paper to get all these labels printed. After all, this stuff's just going to get thrown in the garbage. We just need to get it to the destination. Plus, they're waterproof. And if water gets spilt on them or they end up in the rain, they're not gonna smear or get destroyed. So once you have your label printer set up, you wanna make sure that you have 4x6" paper selected so that it prints properly. And then you wanna fit everything to the printable area. You don't want it to set to default because it will be off center. Everything needs to be fit to the printable area so nothing gets cut off. Once that's done, you can make sure that you are printing packing slips along with the actual shipping label. You can change that setting both in Shopify itself or within ShipStation. I've chosen to print the shipping labels and the packing slips in one fell swoop, so I know exactly what goes in each order. I can double check the name and I can make sure that I have enough space to write a little thank you note. So instead of actually just hitting print, I like to download the labels. I save them all in a shipping labels folder in case I need to go back and verify that something was shipped or just look at a tracking number that wasn't tracked. Because I know that if the label was printed, it got shipped or something else weird happened. It's just something I like to do. Plus, sometimes these printers fail and I want to be able to reprint really easily. I really want to be able to reprint just one, just a packing slip, just a label. And for that reason, I save the entire list on my computer. So in this case, we're going to save all 3 of these orders. It's going to download and then I'm going to click on it and it's going to open it up in a new window. Now that all the labels are in front of me, all I have to do is print them out. So I'll go to print, make sure the Dymo selected, make sure 4x6" is selected, and I'm going to go ahead and get print. Now you're seeing the label printer at work. You see how quick it is? It just starts spitting out shipping labels. We have the label that goes on the box and we have the packing slip right here. Now you don't have to print packing slips if you don't want to, but I recommend it because it will keep you organized and be a little bit easier. Once all the labels have been printed, you simply tear them off on the perforated edge, and then we're gonna bring them over to the shipping table and pick and pack the orders. Let me show you how I do that. Perfect timing. This is Andrew.
Hi.
He is our mail carrier, works for United States Postal Service. So I stopped him and I asked him if he could answer a couple of questions. So you could hear it straight from the horse's mouth. What are some of the big mistakes that people make when they're shipping stuff?
They don't package it really well. Like if you're sending it in a box, I would always recommend doing 2 boxes. Like whatever your item is, if it's already in a box, put it in another box as well and padding between them. A lot of people mess up on the class of shipping too. If they're printing a label from home, they'll print out a ground label and they'll put it on a priority package. But super common and it's easily fixable.
So what happens when all the stuff gets dropped off at the post office or you pick it up? How does it get like distributed? Does it go to a sorting facility? Do people take them all out of the bags and put them around conveyors? Like what happens?
I pick them up here, take them back to the office, and we have they're just these big metal things on wheels basically, and they hold all the packages going out, and then we separate them by California or out of California. and then they get on a truck to Eureka, and then there they get sorted to wherever they're going out of the state and all that. Every time it transfers hands, basically, from office to office, it's supposed to be scanned.
Okay, so let's say someone has like products that they're testing boxes for. Like what kind of forces should they apply to make sure they can stand up to the abuse of shipping?
I always tell people, if you can once you seal it up and if you shake it and if you hear stuff move, it's probably not good. You want that stuff to be like stationary inside there. If you have a box like this and if you put something in it and the lid can be pushed down a lot, like you need that support in there to protect your product.
What do you like shipping more, padded mailers or boxes? What do you think is the move? I was thinking like maybe smaller and lighter stuff could go in here that's not super breakable.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
when you get anything that's like fragile or could be destroyed, you want to go with a heavier box.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
When you're picking up mail from businesses and other people that ship stuff, what causes them to be like your favorite customer? What do they do for you? How can they set you up for success?
Oh yeah, having the packages in the bag already, you're really great at that, obviously. Just tell them what you do and it's perfect. But but yeah, have the packages in the bag already when your carrier gets there, if possible. The scan label, the scan sheet, have that right there. Yeah, if it's separated, if it's California and anything else, basically, that'd be great. It doesn't have to be separated, but the carriers appreciate that because we have to separate it at the office.
Got it. So separating priority from Grand Advantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're shipping packages as well as like a bunch of letters and stuff, obviously have them separate. Don't throw your letters into the bag or anything like that. But
okay, that
I mean, if you do, it's not a big deal. But
Is there any difference when you pick up packages versus when we go drop them off at the post office, or do they all end up in the same place?
they all end up in the same place. It's just a matter of time. Like if you were like here in Arcata, Monday through Friday, we have 2 outgoing trucks per day.
Okay.
So one's at like 3:30. And see, I don't get back to the office until about 4. So if you were to drop off those packages before 3, they would go out sooner than as if and you're just handing them to me.
And they might not even go out till the next day or that evening.
They always go out the same day.
Oh, okay.
Except Sunday, obviously. Even if we pick something up at like 8 o'clock at night, it's
Okay.
going to go to the distribution facility no matter what.
What's the worst day to ship on?
To ship on?
Yeah.
Monday.
Monday?
Yeah, or a day
Busiest
after
day.
a holiday, yeah.
Busiest day,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I would say Wednesday or Thursday are probably the best days. But again, it's more to the customers. If you're shipping something out, it's going to take 3 days to get there. And if you're shipping on a Thursday, that's just not going to get there till Monday, maybe.
Thank you, Andrew.
Hey, thank
Appreciate
man.
you, brother.
Yeah, no problem.
It's time to pick and pack some orders. The first thing I'm gonna do is clear off my area because there is way too much stuff in the way. You need lots of space to get this done. Okay, great. Now we have a nice clean area to do our shipping, and we have all of our items all around us ready to go. More boxes are available here and inventory is in the other room. But what I like to do is keep inventory below me, a little bit of everything. And then as I replace the boxes, the master cases, I'll subtract them from our inventory report. Now that we have our shipping labels printed, I'm just gonna go ahead and separate them by tearing them apart. We only have 3 orders to ship, so this is gonna be really easy. But this is what it looks like. You have the shipping labels on the top, and you have the packing slips on the bottom. I then take a Sharpie, and I write thank you notes on every single one. So I'm gonna write, thank you, Evan. Just like that. Super, super simple stuff, but it adds a human touch that I think is really important in this day and age. Now, the thing I really like about the packing slips is it shows you the discount codes and the quantities. And a lot of times I will miss those or make a mistake. And it's also nice to know where some of our sales are coming from. Like our affiliate codes will show up there, different coupon codes will show up there, and just helps me keep my finger on the pulse of what is resonating and working. So let's take a look at our first order here. This is a 3-pack of Maker's Magic Gloss. Well, I know that a 3-pack of Maker's Magic is gonna fit perfectly in one of our small boxes. But let me show you how that comes to be, because they don't come assembled like that. I grab one of the boxes off the rack that looks just like this. I put it in front of me. I crease it, and then I fold it up. So the tabs will come together right here like this. And then these edges fold in and lock in place. Just like that. Then these little ears get folded in and they come down into the inside of the box, and these little ears fold in and they go into the openings on the front. This is a super solid box design and one of my favorites. It's fairly easy to fold. It only requires tape on one edge and it looks a lot nicer. This is something that the customer might keep because it looks good. So now that we have the box folded, we're gonna grab our 3-pack of Maker's Magic Gloss. We're gonna inspect it and make sure everything's good to go. Caps are tight. I'm gonna place it into the box, but there's a lot of wiggle room. So before we can close it up, you've got to take Andrew's advice and make sure that stuff isn't shaking around, otherwise it's gonna get broken. Two things we're gonna do. I'm gonna put in some freebies for fun because I love giving our customers free stuff, and that's one of the things we do here at Scorchmarker. We include a free mystery gift in every order. So in this case, I'm gonna reach under here and I'm gonna grab one of our squeeze bottles and one of our silicone funnels, and I'm gonna pack that into the box with it. Now we have all the items in the box. What comes next? I'm gonna grab this roll of paper. I'm gonna pull off a chunk. I'm gonna crumple it up, and I'm gonna shove it into the box to take up some of that dead space. The next thing I'm gonna do is tear off the packing slip with the thank you, and I'm gonna put it right on top, just like this. So the first thing they see when they open this up is a thank you note from the founder. Then we're gonna close this box up and seal it. Now listen, nothing. Everything is solid, it's not moving around in there, so now it's more protected. The next thing we do is we grab a piece of packing tape. This is the cheap stuff from Uline, doesn't have to be very expensive. And I'm just gonna seal up that edge right there. That's all we need. If I want them to keep the box, I can't be taping it all up, otherwise it's gonna look ugly. Then I flip it over and I put the shipping label on the bottom. Why, Evan? Why would you do that? Well, if they're gonna keep the box, they don't wanna be staring at a shipping label on the front. They want it to look nice. They wanna be able to see Scorchmarker and the nice foil and embossing that we've done. So I put the shipping label on the bottom in the event that they wanna save the box. And all I do is peel it off, stick it on, and we're done. But why do I tape the box first and put the shipping label on last? You see, this plastic tape would have covered up part of the label, and if plastic tape covers up this barcode, it might not scan. And if it doesn't scan, it's gonna get returned. That's a problem. So I put the shipping label on last. It's done, so I'm gonna set it over here off to the side. Trash goes in a conveniently located trash can right by my knees. That's where all the trash goes. Let's do another order. All right, so this next order is just one Scorchmarker Pro. Super simple, super easy order. What we're gonna do is grab a craft mailer. So in this case, I actually like to put the shipping label on first because it's always easier to stick a label to something that's flat than something that has items in it. You'll see that when we put stuff in it, it kind of gets all bunched up like this. Hard to put a shipping label on that surface. So label your mailers first, label your boxes last. Then I grab one of our Scorchmarkers, I slide it inside, I put in the packing slip, and then I'm gonna grab one of our freebies, which is a pack of vinyl butterfly stencils. I'm gonna fold them up properly, and I'm gonna slide that into the package as well. Then I peel off the sticky part, I fold it over, and we're done. We have a finished picked and packed padded mailer. That's gonna go over there in the mail supply. Okay, we've got one other item to pick and pack, so let's separate it. We have the shipping label, and then on this one, we're gonna get a 3-pack of Scorchmarker Pros. $32 worth of stuff. So I'm gonna grab 1, 2, 3 markers, but I'm also gonna give them something for free. So I'm gonna give them stencils and one of our prototype Scorchmarkers. But which one should we use for this? You can see that if we fold up the stencils, they'll definitely fit in here. The Scorchmarkers will fit in here. And so I don't think we need to use a big mailer for this one. Let's set this aside and go with a smaller mailer. Remember, shipping label goes on first when you're using a padded mailer. Push it down good, they come off. Then we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna put our 3 Scorchmarkers inside, our freebies, and our stencils. Slide that in. Last but not least, the packing slip. Then I'm gonna peel this off, stick it together, and we're done. So right here we have our finished products. This is the Maker's Magic, and then our 2 other orders of Scorchmarkers. What happens next? Well, they've got to get to the post office, and you can drop your packages off like this, but I'm gonna let you in on a secret and tell you how to become your postman's favorite business. Let me show you what I mean by that. This right here is called a post office bag. They're pretty big. As you can see, they're made out of plastic. They kind of look like big sacks, and they have this little Velcro tie around it. The post office will give these to you for free. All you have to do is ask. You just walk into your post office and say, hey, could I have some bags for shipping? And they will literally give you a big old pile of these. I've got a bunch right here. This right here is how you become your postman's best friend. You take your orders and you put them into the bag. You put everything together and make it nice and neat for them. You take the little piece of Velcro right here and you wrap it up. Just like so. Now, normally there's a lot of orders in here. Today we're only working with 3, so it's not absolutely mandatory for just a handful of packages. But if you're doing more than 5 or 10 orders, put them in a bag and put a form on it. That form is the end of day form, which we'll talk about in a moment. Now, when it comes to these bags, make sure that you're not filling them up to the brim. Make sure they still close. Make sure you put the heavier items and more durable items like the boxes on the bottom and the mailers on the top. Also, try not to make them more than 50 pounds. Regular people have a hard time lifting more than 50 pounds. I don't, but they do. And so I want to be considerate. So try to keep these less than 50 pounds, but there isn't any rule that says you have to. Once you have everything packed into these bags, it's time for one last step, and that's called an end of day form, also known as a scan sheet. It's basically a little barcode that the post office can scan that will tell them what the packages are and where they're going. It's a super simple way of becoming your postman's best friend, because instead of having to scan every single individual package, they just scan the one sheet and they're done. It'll make their lives easier, it'll make everything go smoother, and will make you look like a rock star. Let me show you how we get it done. Now, once you've printed your orders off on ShipStation, you're gonna go back to the main screen, you're gonna click this box, printed, so they know they've been printed. Then you're gonna click the little X, and you're gonna go over here to shipments, the top tab. I don't know how to do this on Shopify, by the way, but I'm sure you could Google it. And then once you're in ShipStation, you can go to end of day and click on that option right there. It's gonna pull up the manifest. And so what you'll see is that there are 3 shipments that went to the USPS today. So we're gonna click on this button right here called Close Shipments. And then it's gonna show all of the orders in that sack. We're gonna select all of them and we're gonna close them out. That means they're done and we're closing the shipments. It will then give you the ability to print a form. It looks like this. So let's click on Print Form and see what it looks like. There you have it, our end of day form. It's a very, very simple form. It's just one sheet, it's got one barcode to scan, and it shows how many orders are in that post office bag. We're gonna click on download instead of print. Remember, always download it so you have it in case you need to reprint it and your printer jams, and then we're gonna save it. Once it's saved, I'm gonna click on it, and it's gonna pull it up in our page. I'm gonna make sure that 3 is the correct number, and then I'm gonna come up here to the print icon and print it out on our 4x6-inch thermal printer. This is what a scan sheet looks like. It's not pretty, it's nothing fancy, it's just a simple piece of paper that makes everyone's life easier. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna peel off half of it just like this, and we're gonna stick it on the bag. This way, when it's arrived at its destination, they can easily tear it off and throw it in the trash without having to make a big mess of things. A lot of these bags have pre-existing labels on them because they've gotten stuck, and it could cause some confusion when scanning. They might scan the wrong one. So I like to make it easy to remove. Let's go do that now. So I've got my scan sheet. I've peeled back just a little bit of it, and I've got my bag right here. So what I'm gonna do is just make part of it flat, and I'm gonna stick it on just like that. That's literally all you need to do. Then you're gonna take this and either hand it to the postman, or you're gonna drive it over to the post office and put it in one of the bins where they accept prepaid packages in the front. If you don't know where that is, you can always ask someone at the counter or just be like, hey, paid for, where does it go? And they'll point and tell you where to do it. Some of the larger post offices in the cities, they'll have them all in the back of the post office. You'll just drive around to the back, dump everything in, and you're good to go. Or you can hand the bag to your mail carrier and they'll say, oh, wow, you're awesome. There's a scan sheet and everything. You're the best. I love coming here. Just like Andrew, my postman, says every time he comes by to pick up packages. Here's some pro tips that will make your life easier. Make sure you have the correct box sizes and all the weights properly put into your shipping software and your website. It'll make life so much easier. Start out by buying cheap stuff. Figure it out, get samples, try things, configure things, actually measure stuff and test different box sizes and make sure that it works. Ship a sample order to one of your friends or family members and ask them how it arrived and inspect the package to see where the wear and tear and where it gets damaged and what actually happens to the product when it arrives. Don't spend a bunch of money on packing materials and supplies in the beginning. Just use the basics. Craft, recycled, unlabeled boxes, and plain old butcher paper for taking up some extra space. Get yourself some tape dispensers like these. They're really affordable, and they accept the most common and cheapest type of shipping tape, which will save you a ton of money and make your life way easier when you gotta tape all this stuff up. Make sure you get the orders out on time. The sooner it gets into the mail stream, the better. Make sure your customers get notified with their tracking numbers when the order ships. ShipStation does that automatically for me. It's a setting you can select, and you can even configure what the notification email looks like. It's really cool. It gives them a button they can click to track their package. Print off the packing slips and put them in every order so the customer can verify that what they order is actually in the package. Plus, it gives you a ton of extra room to write a handwritten note, which is a very special thing I suggest you do. And get yourself a 4x6-inch thermal label printer. It's gonna make life so much easier. It's adhesive, it doesn't require ink, they're affordable, and they last forever. It's literally all you need to print out shipping labels and packing slips. And lastly, if you're looking for a group of entrepreneurs just like you and me, I have one of them. I built it. It's called the Accelerator. And there's a group of us that are all selling products on the internet. So if you're looking for that tribe, a group of people to spend your time around, consider checking it out. You can get in for $1 right now. There's links everywhere in the description and in my bio. Hopefully this video has given you enough information to figure out your shipping. Just remember, the post office is most likely gonna be your best bet. They're gonna be the most affordable, they have the most locations, and they have drivers that are coming by just about every house every single day. So for 90% of the businesses out there, post office is the way to go, unless you're shipping something that needs to be refrigerated or is really big and heavy and bulky. You might want to consider a different option if that's you. Now, if you have questions, just go to the post office and ask them. Ask your mail carrier. They're all humans. They're all good people. You just got to get to know them. And one of the best ways to get to know them is give them free shit. Give them some of your products. Give them your stuff. Tell them about yourself. Get to know them. Learn their names. Offer the restroom or bottles of water or sodas or snacks to them. I would appreciate it. And if I would appreciate it, I know they would too. Plus, as an added bonus, I give every single one of our delivery drivers an Amazon gift card at the end of the year during the holidays. It's a way to say thank you for helping us serve our customers, for helping me run my business. They do a lot of hard work. They've got a lot of packages to deliver, and they put up with a lot of bullshit. And so if you can be one of those people that they're excited to show up to, excited to help, your business and your life is gonna be so much better. So go the extra mile, give them free stuff, give them gift cards during the holidays, make sure you learn their name, and take good care of them. After all, we're all humans here. We all want the same things. And if it's something that you would appreciate, I guarantee you they would appreciate it too. Thanks for watching the video and supporting the channel. I appreciate you very much. I hope this video helped.